In a world that rarely slows down, yoga has the potential to offer the treasure of pause. Across continents and cultures, from bustling cities to whispering villages, join us in a space created just for you, whoever and wherever you are. Global Oasis Yoga. Offering live stream and online classes for all levels of experience. Come join us in this tiny little studio we call Earth. Hi, and thank you for joining me for a Level 2 Vibrant Vinyasa class. For more details on level definitions and how this class is structured, read the description below. Remember that this is your yoga practice, so make any modifications that would suit your body, how your body is feeling today. I don't plan to use any specific props, but if you have sensitive knees or trouble coming into a deep squat, you may wish to have a bolster pillow or a thin cushion or a knee pad nearby. And of course, if you enjoy using yoga blocks or any other yoga props, go ahead and gather those as well. So we'll begin in standing today. So come to Tadasana at the top of your mat. Close the eyes for a little while here and begin to bring your breath into a slow cadence of long inhales and exhales through the nose. Take just a moment to gather up your thoughts, release any distractions from earlier in your day. And to begin our movement, let's start with some neck rotations. So dropping the chin to the chest, rotating right ear over right shoulder, dropping the head behind you, left ear over left shoulder, chin towards chest. We're going to add on to that with some wrist rotations. So rotating the neck, rotating the wrists, and changing directions for both. And then releasing that, let's draw the shoulders up, back, and down behind us. Again, taking some shoulder rotations here towards the back. And then changing directions, rolling the shoulders forward. And now open the arms out wide, extending the arms to the sides, broadening the collarbones, drawing the heart in between the shoulders. And then as you exhale, round the back body and bring the palms to touch with the arms extended in front of you, dropping the chin to the chest. And now inhale, opening it back up, arching the spine a little bit if you'd like. Gaze lifts a little. And then as you exhale, bringing the palms to touch, kind of like a standing cat and cow. Inhaling, open. Exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. And the next time your arms are extended wide, walk your feet a little bit wider than hip distance and almost as if you're grabbing onto ropes on either side, making fists with the hands. We're going to rotate our arm within our shoulder socket We'll begin by rotating the arm forward in the socket, and as we do that, we're dipping our shoulder down towards the mat. And then we're rotating the shoulder back in the socket and lifting the torso back up. So changing sides, rotating forwards, dipping the shoulder down towards the mat, taking it back open towards the back. You can add on the feet if you'd like. Turning the knee inwards, bending the knee, same hand, changing sides. You'll start to feel some heat building up in your chest and your shoulders. That's what we're going for. Trying to get warmed up here. If it's too complicated to add the feet, don't worry about it. We're focusing on the shoulders now. Just a couple more rounds. And one more on each side. And then releasing that, shaking it out. Now we're gonna go in between a yogi squat or malasana and a forward fold. So if you would like to elevate the heels with a bolster or a block, now is the time to do that. To come into our squat, our feet are gonna be pointed out towards the corners of the mat. And again, if you'd like to elevate the heels, it will help you with ankle flexibility and being able to come down into the squat. As we squat, we're not leaning forward with our rear end sticking out. We are keeping the spine straight and tall, back is straight, and we're slowly lowering it down, bringing some heat into our legs now. And then when you reach the bottom, just settling in here for a moment. And now place the hands on the mat, straighten the legs, and find your forward fold. Letting the head be heavy, lengthening the spine, thinking about separating the vertebrae in the spine. Breathing here. And then deep bend in the knees, finding malasana again. Coming down into the squat. You can rest the elbows on the insides of the knees here if you'd like, pressing them against the knees to open the legs a little bit more. And then straightening the legs, finding your forward fold. Keeping a micro bend in the knees or a deep bend in the knees if you'd like. Letting gravity do its job. And then settling in for one more malasana yogi squat. Coming all the way down. One more quick forward fold. And then making your way down to a hovering tabletop. So almost like we're coming into tabletop, but our knees are about an inch off the mat. So you're pushing the ground away with the arms, protracting the shoulders just a little bit, which means separating the shoulder blades on the back. Either stay here in a hover, or if you'd like a little bit more intensity, twist the knees to the right. Twist the back to center, twist the knees to the left. Back to center, keeping the back straight here, so you don't want your hips to lift up. Flowing between right and left. And we'll stay in this hover for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Walking the feet to meet the hands, coming all the way to the top of the mat, and then slowly vertebrae by vertebrae,
rolling all the way up
into Tadasana or mountain pose. Okay, we're going to begin our main sequence now, and it will be sandwiched in between a Sun Salutation A or a Surya Namaskar A. So let's begin with feet about hip-width distance apart. Weight is in all four corners of each foot, distributed evenly between the feet. Tailbone is slightly tucked. Our core is engaged here. And let's inhale our arms overhead, gazing at the palms. Exhale, finding your forward fold, uttanasana. Utilizing your core, halfway lift, extending the spine. And then as you exhale, planting the hands on the mat, taking a vinyasa. So what that looks like is stepping back into a high plank or plank on the knees, and then going from your high push-up to a low push-up, gazing forward as you lower on your exhale. And then as you inhale, finding either cobra or up dog with the thighs lifted. And then as you exhale, utilizing your core to draw your way back into downward facing dog. Breathing here in downward facing dog. You're welcome to pedal out the feet if you'd like. Maybe dip a hip down towards the mat. Pushing the ground away with the hands. Your weight is equally distributed between all of your fingers, your knuckles, your wrists, all of the hand surface area that's touching the mat. Your shoulders are rotated out. Your sit bones are reaching for the space above you. And you're putting as much distance between your wrists and your side body as possible. And now walk the hands back to the feet. So you should be in a forward fold at the back of the mat. Inhale as you rise to stand, sweeping the arms overhead. And then coming back down, finding your forward fold on your exhale, walking the hands back out into a plank pose, a high plank pose. Pausing in your plank, and then we'll take that 2 more times. So walk the hands back to the feet. Rise to stand on your inhale. Exhale, find your forward fold. Walking the hands back out. Make the way all the way to the top. Pause in your plank momentarily. 1 more time. Walking hands to feet. Rise to stand. Exhale, back to your forward fold. Walk it out. This time, pause in a high plank. If you need to lower the knees, feel free. Make sure you have a straight line between your shoulders and your heels. Pressing the mat away from you, protracting the shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades apart from one another on the back. Making sure your hips aren't drooping or too elevated. Holding here for another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then slowly, dropping the knees if you need to, lowering down all the way to the belly. We're headed for shalabhasana or locust pose. So untucking the toes, arms can be straight at your sides, in airplane wings, or extended in front of you. And on our inhale, we're lifting everything but the pelvis off of the mat. So lifting up, arms and legs, bringing the heels together, reaching the shoulder blades towards one another on the back, gazing forward, and holding here for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lowering all the way back down to the mat. Plant the hands outside of the rib cage and make your way into downward facing dog. So pushing back up, finding a tabletop, straightening the legs, downward facing dog. In your down dog, pay attention to the weight distribution in your hands and your wrists and all of that area that's touching the mat. You want the weight equally distributed between your finger pads, your knuckle pads, and your wrists. You are pushing the mat away from you, creating distance between the wrists and the side body. The sit bones are reaching towards the sky, and your shoulders are rotated out. And from our downward facing dog, lift the right toes high and then step the right foot in between the hands at the top of the mat. If your foot only comes about halfway up the mat, that is perfectly fine. You can heel toe your foot into place or reach back with the right hand, grab the right ankle, and bring the foot into place. We're setting up for Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1. The back foot rotates flat at a 45-degree angle, so your toes are pointed to the left top corner of the mat. Once you feel stable, pressing into the feet, lifting the torso, hands can be at the waist or arms can be lifted next to the ears. Deep bend in the front knee. Your weight is equally distributed between both feet, and it's on the outside edge of your back foot. Your hips are square to the top of the mat here. Find an inhale, and on your exhale, opening into Warrior 2. So now your hips are square to the long side of the mat. You still have a deep bend in your front leg. Your arms are stretched, extended towards the front and towards the back, and you're gazing over the front fingertips. Your shoulders are stacked directly over your hips, so you're not leaning forward or back. Warrior 2. And now bring the right elbow down to the right knee. You're not dumping all of your weight into it, but you're there for support. And you're reaching the left arm over the left ear here. Rotating the torso to the left, opening the left shoulder. And now rotating the torso towards the mat, rotating the chest towards the mat, planting the hands on either side of the front foot, coming onto the ball of the back foot, bringing right foot to meet the left foot at the back of the mat. Options here, take a vinyasa or meet me in child's pose or downward facing dog. If you're in the vinyasa, lowering from high push-up to low push-up, looking forward, inhaling, finding your cobra or upward facing dog, and then exhaling, using your core to draw yourself back into downward facing dog. And let's do that whole sequence on the second side. So walking the hands back to meet the feet. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, forward folding, walking it out. Pausing momentarily in your plank pose. Walking it back up. Inhaling, rise to stand. Exhale to forward fold. Again, finding your plank briefly. One more time, walking it back up. Inhale as you rise to stand. Exhale, forward fold, pausing again in your high plank. Option here, lower the knees if you'd like, stay in high plank, or do some shoulder taps, trying to keep the hips as level as possible. And we'll be here for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering onto the belly, all the way down, finding locust pose or shalabhasana. So on your next inhale, lifting everything off the mat, except for your pelvis again. Reaching the arms long, reaching the legs towards one another. Lifting the chest just a little bit higher for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lowering it down. Planting the hands next to the chest, making your way back to downward facing dog. From your down dog, inhale as the left toes lift. And then exhale, knee to nose, stepping the left foot in between the hands, rotating right foot so it's flat on the mat now at a 45-degree angle, setting up for Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1. Inhaling the arms up high. Hands can also be at the waist, breathing here. Hips are still square to the top of the mat, finding an inhale. And then as you exhale, opening it up, Warrior 2. Deep bend in the front knee, arms are straight and strong, hugging the muscles towards the bone, gazing over front fingertips. Tailbone is slightly tucked here. And then reaching left elbow towards left knee. Again, we're not dumping our weight into that, but just using as a little kickstand. And then reaching right arm over right ear, gazing under the right armpit. Side angle pose. And now rotating the chest towards the mat, frame the front foot, stepping back, downward facing dog, or take up vinyasa, lowering down on your exhale, inhaling as you find your up dog or cobra, exhaling using the core, drawing back to downward facing dog. And then coming up onto the balls of the feet, walk or hop the feet to the hands at the top of the mat. Inhale to halfway lift, extending the spine straight. Exhale to forward fold. And then rise to stand, coming all the way up. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale, hands by the sides. Okay, we're going to do that whole sequence once more with a few different things added in. So starting with our inhale, the arms lift. On our exhale, forward folding. On our inhale, use the core to halfway lift. As you exhale, plant the hands, step back, either optional vinyasa or meet me in downward facing dog. As you lower, gaze forward. As you come into your back bend, inhale, and then exhale, use your core to draw yourself back to downward facing dog. Walk hands to feet at the back of the mat. Rise to stand. Forward fold, meet your plank. And 2 more times, walking hands back. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, walking it out. 1 more. This time our plank options are high plank on the knees, or forearm plank on the knees. Holding here. Remembering to keep a straight line between the shoulders and the heels here. We'll be here for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Dropping the knees, lowering down, finding our shalabhasana or locust pose. So on your next inhale, lifting everything up, drawing feet together, shoulder blades together, seeing if you can lift just a little bit higher than last time. Breathing here. And then slowly lowering everything back to the mat, making our way to downward facing dog, planting the hands next to the rib cage, pushing back up, lifting the hips, using your core to get there. This time, inhale the right toes high, bend the right knee, and let's make some circles with the hips. So drawing circles with the knee in one direction or the other, taking care to keep your shoulders square to the mat. And then extending the right leg straight, bending right knee towards the nose, stepping the right foot in between the hands, setting up for Virabhadrasana 1. So back foot rotates to a 45-degree angle, pressing into the feet. Inhale as you lift the torso. Hands can be at the waist or arms next to the ears, straight and strong and activated. Deep bend in the front knee. My hips are square to the top of the mat. And then finding an inhale. On your exhale, opening it up, warrior 2. Keeping that deep bend in the front knee, gazing over front fingertips. Breathing here, slight tuck of the tailbone. And then side angle pose, right elbow meets left knee, right elbow meets right knee, left arm extends overhead, gazing under the left armpit. And then rotating the chest towards the mat, hands frame the front foot. This time, pop up onto the ball of the left foot. So left toes are pointed forward. And then straighten the right leg. So we're coming into a pyramid pose here, a pyramid stretch. Fingertips can be next to the right foot. You'd like to, you can try to hover the hands or extend the arms behind you if you'd like. If you'd like to, you can also lift the toes of the right foot to intensify the stretch a little bit. And then either stepping back to downward facing dog, taking a child's pose, or taking a vinyasa in between sides. Lowering down with your gaze lifted, inhaling up into your back bend of choice, utilizing the core, drawing the hips over the heels, finding downward facing dog. And walking hands back to feet. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhaling, forward fold, walking it out. Momentarily find your plank, taking it back. Inhaling, exhaling. Meeting your plank one more time, walking it back in. Last time, last side, inhaling up. Exhaling. This time in our plank, we can hold again, high plank, low plank on the forearms, or if you'd like, you can go in between a forearm plank and a high plank. You are also welcome to come onto the knees at any point. Lowering between high and low. And we'll stay here for another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering the knees, finding shalabhasana, but taking a breath first. And then on your next inhale, lifting everything up. This is our last one, so make it count. Lifting higher. And holding here for another 4, 3, 2, and 1. With control, lowering it down. Hands plant next to the chest, making your way to down dog. And then from our down dog, the left toes lift. Find a bend in the left knee, drawing heel to glute, making circles with the knee. Again, being careful to keep the shoulders square to the mat, pushing the mat away from you. We're not dumping the weight into the joints. And then changing directions. And then straightening the left leg, drawing the left foot in between the hands. Back foot rotates to 45 degrees, setting up for Virabhadrasana 1. Inhale, lifting up. Warrior 1. Breathing here. Remember, the arms are active, deep bend in the front knee. Hips are still square to the mat. On your inhale, finding your inhale here. And then as you exhale, opening it up, hips are now square to the side of the mat, collarbones reaching away from one another here. Warrior 2. And then left elbow finds left knee, side angle pose. Reaching the right arm overhead. Opening the right shoulder, lifting the gaze under the right armpit. And then square the hips and the chest off towards the mat again, setting up for a pyramid pose. Popping up onto the ball of the right foot. Right toes facing the top of the mat, straighten left leg. Again, option to lift left toes if you'd like, or hover the hands. Make airplane wings with the hands. And then making your way back to down dog. Optional vinyasa, last one of class if you'd like. Otherwise, meet me in downward facing dog, lowering down, finding your back bend of choice. Exhaling as you push hips over heels, straightening the legs, finding downward facing dog. And now coming onto the balls of the feet again, walk or hop the feet to the top of the mat. Exhale as you forward fold. Inhale, use your core to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold again, and then rise to stand. Exhale, hands by the sides. Okay, let's find a chair pose. So feet are hip width distance apart. Finding a deep bend in the knees, sinking the hips towards the heels. Hands can be at the waist or arms next to the ears. Again, active and strong. You should be able to see your big toes here. Either stay here in chair pose, or if you'd like to try it, come up onto the balls of the feet in your uttanasana. And then what we're gonna do, whether your heels are lifted or not, we're gonna keep our squat and make our way back to the back of the mat in our squat. And then once we get there, lower the heels if you haven't already, and then come to standing at the back of the mat. Cross the left foot over, cross the right foot in front of the left. So you're at the back of your mat with your legs crossed. And let's find a forward fold here. So once you feel stable, walking the hands down the thighs, if that helps you stay stable, finding a forward fold with legs crossed. And then keeping the feet where they are with that cross-legged position, walk the hands back out like you're headed for down dog or a plank. So your arms are extended in front of you, your feet are still crossed, but now lift them up on the balls of the feet. Bring the right knee towards the right wrist and lower the shin to the mat, setting up for pigeon pose. So right knee is behind right wrist, right ankle is towards the center of the mat. Lower onto the hips, walking the left foot straight out behind you. So left leg is extended straight behind you. Hips should be relaxed and square to the mat. If one of your hips is still lifted, This is the opportunity to use your blanket or bolster to prop up that hip so that your hips are square to the top of the mat and they can fully relax. Either keep the torso lifted, or if you'd like, you can come on down to the forearms or lay down all the way in pigeon pose, breathing here, feeling a really lovely stretch in the outer right hip. This is my all-time favorite yoga pose, so I do it a lot. And then lifting up, walking the hands back a little bit, turning on to the toes of the left foot, lifting the left knee, walking the hands back towards the back of the mat, coming into our cross-legged forward fold at the back, and then rising to stand, and let's change sides. So same thing, left foot crosses over right this time. Once you feel stable, find your forward fold. Should feel nice in the outer left hip. And then keeping the legs crossed, walking the hands forward, making your way to pigeon on the left side. So bringing left knee behind left wrist, left ankle towards the center of the mat, walking the right toes back a little bit. Again, squaring off your hips, using a block or a blanket if you need to. Hips should be relaxed. And welcome to lower onto the forearms or the chest here. And then if you've lowered down, lifting the torso, propping up onto the ball of the right foot a little bit, moving the hips forward. Now we're just coming into a tabletop position. So by whatever means necessary, make your way to tabletop. And then we are going to come to seated on the shins with the toes tucked. This might be quite intense for some people. Option here, prop the bolster or rolled up blanket in between the calves and the backs of the thighs to take pressure off if that's too intense. Also, if your feet have never been in this position before, it might be a little bit alarming. It is a nice stretch for the bottoms of the feet and the toes. So if you can keep it, do so. If it becomes too distracting, of course, untuck the toes if you'd like. What we're going to do now is find uttanasana or camel pose, but we're going to do it in a fluid motion. So dancing camel, I believe some people have called it before. What that's going to look like is placing the right hand on either the right heel or the mat, or if you'd like a block here to place the right hand on to take up some space, that's a good opportunity to use your block. Either way, right hand, hips are lowered down over the heels, right hand finds the heel. And then as we drive the hips towards the top of the mat, our left arm is going to sweep across the center of the body and over to the right, lifting the left arm overhead. And then lower the hips as you exhale. Now dropping left hand to left heel, driving the hips forward, reaching right arm across the center of the body and over to the left. And let's take that a little bit faster. So on your exhale, lowering the hips, inhaling as you lift, exhaling to lower the hips, Inhaling to lift. Exhaling as you lower. A couple more rounds. One more round on each side. And then lowering the hips towards the heels. Make your way towards the top of the mat. Just crawl up there. Coming to seated. So placing the bum on the mat, swinging the legs around to extend in front of you. We're just going to do one more round of a little bit of core work here. Couple of options. Plant the hands behind the hips. All right, just a little bit behind the hips, pointing the fingers forwards, and draw the knees to the chest. And we're just going to extend the legs and then draw them up towards the chest as close as we can, like we're trying to roll into a little ball here. All right, protecting the lower spine with hands for support, gathering the core muscles together, working our core here. Option to stay with this or lift the arms and draw knees to chest with arms lifted. So picking up the pace a little bit. We'll be here for another 10, 9, 8, tight little ball, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then with control, setting everything back down. And then scooting as close to the top of your mat as you can, keeping the feet as close to the pelvis as you can. Again, making a little ball, hugging the knees with the arms. We're going to steal a move from Pilates here and basically roll like a ball. So all we're doing is rocking back onto the shoulder blades and then coming back up to a seated position. If you'd like to use your hands for support on the mat, do so. So when you're ready, rocking back to the shoulder blades, coming back to seated. Again, hands on the mat for support if you'd like. It should feel really nice. A few more rounds. The next time you're back on your shoulder blades, stay down, drop the feet to the mat here, and we are going to find a supine twist, a reclined twist. So knees are still bent. Draw the knees towards the chest. Extend the arms out to a T. And drop the knees over to the left-hand side. If you get to a stage where your right shoulder starts to lift off the mat, back out of that stretch a little bit and use your blanket or a bolster or something under the knees for support so that your right shoulder can rest softly on the mat and be relaxed. Might be a good time to close down the eyes. We're starting to wind down our practice here. And turn your head in the direction of the right hand. Breathing here in our supine twist. And then engage your core muscles, engage your bandhas in your core area before lifting everything back up towards the midline and changing sides. So this time, knees drop over to the right side and the head turns in the direction of the left hand. Supporting the knees if necessary to allow the left shoulder to completely relax on the mat. And then with the core engaged, draw the knees back to center and set out for our shalabhasana. So legs extend long, toes reaching for the top corners of the mat. Arms are at the sides, palms can be face up or face down. Closing down the eyes if you haven't already. Do a quick scan of your body and notice where your muscles are still activated, which ones are still working to hold yourself in the position that you're in. And then release those muscles, let them go. Ease your grip. And let the pelvis be heavy. Let the chest be heavy. The abdomen. Let your eyeballs be heavy. Soften your cheeks and your temples. Release the jaw. We'll stay another few moments here in silence. I'd like you to try and keep your mind present in this moment, realizing that we rarely have moments of stillness like this in our busy schedules. So take advantage of it. Stay here as long as you possibly can mentally and breathe. And begin to take some movement with your fingers and your toes, rotating the wrists and the ankles. And then drawing the feet together, reaching the arms above your head or out to the sides, taking a really big stretch. And then bringing everything into the midline, drawing knees to chest, rolling on to your right side, resting on your side for just a few breaths here. And then making your way to seated, coming all the way up. Crossing the legs for a moment, hands on the knees. Big inhale and exhale. And thank you for practicing with me today. I hope to see you again soon.